What's up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with a brand new review of Power Book 2 Ghost, Season 3, Episode 6. The episode was titled Land of Lies, you guys. So, before we go ahead and get into this episode, if you guys are watching this video or any other episode on the channel, any of the video on my channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then do me a solid favor, you guys, and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the deal. You can do me that by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning your post notifications on, and sharing the video, you guys. And with that out the way, without further ado, let's discuss Power Book 2 Ghost, shall we? All right, you guys, so this episode, I'm gonna keep doing it how I've been doing it, right? So we're gonna start up with like Davis, Sax, Jenny, all of them, right? So we see Davis. So Davis called Sax into his office, right? And Sax asked Davis, do you know anything about Lorenzo Tejada being murdered? He was like, nope, but that's a good picture, right? He says, but he'll reach out to the family, right? So then Davis asked Sax, like, so have you heard anything about them investigating Lauren Baldwin's, death as potential for, what did he say? He said foul play. That's what he said, like foul play. So, Sax is trying to play it off like he don't know nothing, right? But he says that Tariq told him that there's an investigation and he just wants to make sure that Tariq's name is not coming up with this investigation, right? So Sax says, you know what, I'll look into it and I'll let you know what I find out, right? While he's talking to Davis, then he's telling him, while he's talking to Davis, Jenny texts him talking about she wants to meet up with him, right? So then he asked him about, Theo. So what his original plan was, they don't have time for that because Theo is not doing well. And that's Sax who asked how Theo was. So he asked him, does he know somebody in government? So we later see as Sax is sitting down with none other than Rashad Tate, right? Old slimy ass. So he's telling Tate about this situation with Theo, trying to get Tate's help with Theo. So we all know how Tate is, right? Tate doesn't do anything unless there's something in it for him, be it monetary, whatever, right? So Tate is like, okay, I'm down with it, right? But, it's going to come at a price. So Sax like, I'll give you my watch. He was like, man, you can keep that old crappy ass watch, right? So basically I was kind of confused what he wants him to do. I'm kind of confused, and you guys can kind of, if you understood this, let me know in the comment section. Because he was talking about Davis going after his opponent. Now, I don't know if he meant like dig up dirt on his opponent and put the information out there in the form of like, political attack ads or whatever. If that's what he meant, let me know what you got. Let me know if you guys understood what Tate was wanting from him in the comments. So we then see Jenny, right? So after Tate left, Jenny came in and she says she wants to apologize to Sax, right? But then she says, I could have swore I just saw someone who looked like Rashad Tate. He says it was Rashad Tate, right? So she wants to know, okay, Sax, what do you want? So he says, did you fabricate the stuff in Lauren's death? And she was like, no, she did not, right? So he was asking her, like, how did you get so-and-so to sign off on this situation? Then he put two and two together. He said, you used me, didn't you? Yep, she did. So she says that he says, if you had just told me the truth, I would have helped you out, right? So, but now he's not quite sure. And Jenny said, it ain't up to you, basically, because, she knows about him having the gun when he went to Truth the night that Ghost died, right? So she used that against him, and I was like, ooh, shit. Look, like Jenny said, you try to, draw phone on me, bitch, I'm a reverse and Uno out on your ass, right? Basically, like, it is what it is. So we see Lauren. So Lauren is at her parents' house. So she wakes up the next morning after, she saw Tariq and, she is waiting for her parents to come home. So instead of her parents coming home, it's Jenny. So Jenny told Lauren that, what they did was they took her parents, they put them away somewhere safe, and that's why she has the keys, and that's why she came in there, right? So Jenny basically tried to guilt trip her back into going to the safe house. She was like, if you don't work with us, and basically Jenny ain't no better than, like, she talks about Tariq and everybody, but you ain't no better than them because you're using deceptive tactics to get what you want. Didn't that shit blow up in your face the last time you did this shit? Jenny ain't learned her lesson. But Lauren says, you know what? I'll go back with you, but I want to talk to Saxe by myself, right? So then we do see him and Lauren talking, and Lauren was like, Tariq didn't try to kill her, and she says he's not a bad person. He was like, Tariq is not who you think he is. So he told her Tariq's story, and I don't know that necessarily changed how she feels about him. So Saxe basically wants her to still testify to bring down Tariq. But she told him, she's like, I know that you helped get, that case with Tariq with Jabari dismissed. He was like, how do you know that? Because the place that she's in, they've cut off the Wi-Fi. She's like, I know my neighbor's password. And so while I was waiting for my parents to come, I had a lot of time. So I just went sleeping, right? So moving back over to Davis, we see Davis. So Davis called Monet saying that the feds had got the Russians, and I'll explain to you guys why they got the Russians in just a little bit, right? Now, when she got home, because she was at home on the phone, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and knock this part out, but we'll talk about, like I said, we'll talk about the Tejadas in greater detail later in the review. So look, she got home and she see Lorenzo's. I'm like, girl, is this your guilty conscience? Like, Monet got a guilty conscience. Basically, he told her, there go that damn dog. Basically, Lorenzo told her, when them kids find out what you did to me, oh, they're never gonna forgive you. He had to talk about her and them kids. The way that Monet talks to those kids, oh God, I could not. She would not be she could not be my mama. But let's pause here and move forward, you guys. Whew, baby, she could not be my mother, because I would slap the shit out of her. Like, swear to God. Right hand to God, I would slap that bitch. All right, you guys. So we see Effie and Tariq. Now, you guys remember the last episode, Tariq saw Lauren. He went back into the room, and, he was sitting in the bed like this with Effie, right? So she wakes up the next morning, she getting ready, and Tariq is still sitting in that same position. I'm like, dude, you don't have a good poker face, right? And so she says, is everything okay? He says, everything is good, right? So then she looks online and she finds an article about Lorenzo being killed, right? And she says, did you know anything about this? He says, no, why would I? So we then see they go to class, right? So Effie came up to Tariq once again and asked him, you good? He said, yeah, I'm fine. So then he tells her, tomorrow, like, I want to take you somewhere. And she said, okay, sure. So in class, they are talking about America being the land of lies. And I mean, we've definitely saw that a lot, especially over the last, since 2016, we've definitely saw a whole hell of a lot of lies. Even one of the kids mentioned, who, right? And one of the students said, well, he didn't lie about everything. I'm like, he damn sure, yes, the hell he did. Everything that came out of that orange Oompa Loompa's mouth was a motherfucking lie, right? So somebody brought up, I think it was actually brown skin Keisha who brought up Lorenzo, right? And even Harper was like, why are y'all talking about your classmate who's not here, her father, right? And I'm so glad that Tariq stepped up and was like, y'all talking about her daddy, so do y'all believe everything that y'all see? And that's the thing. They were talking about the media, right? Everything you see in the media is not real. Like, I'll give you guys perfect example, like Fox News, right? We know that they just had to settle a defamation case because they spewed a bunch of lies, right? And then when it comes to reporters, they report on what they know, right? Sometimes they don't have all the facts. So that's why, they'll well, they don't say allegedly, but they'll say that, that's all, they'll say whatever. They'll put quotes, right? They'll say, start quote, end quote, and stuff like that, right? They'll quote what they know. But they won't put misinformation out there unless they're Fox News, right? Or unless they are in the realm of like your tabloid magazines, right? They are able to get away with the things that they say, which could be slanderous or lies, because they operate under that realm of, we tabloids. Most stuff you see in the tabloids are not real, right? So I thought it was an interesting conversation. I do agree, America is the land of lies, but hey, you guys take it however you want to take it, right? So, a strange scene, we see Brayden on the elevator, and out of nowhere, Tariq just comes up and just be punching the shit out of him. I'm like, damn, just beating the brakes off of him. So he's asking him about the situation with Lauren, right? And so, I mean, like I said, he was just beating the shit out of Brayden until Brayden finally told him it was Effie. Kane knew that Lauren wore the wire. He said, how did Kane know she wore a wire? He said, I'm assuming it was Effie. So then he said, don't tell Effie shit. I was like, okay, fine, little nigga. So then we see Tariq and Effie. They're on a road trip. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, where in the hell are they going? Shit, he finally showed us where they were going, right? But on the way there, he was, basically just telling her his life story about, what happened with Raina, him shooting, was it Ray Ray? Ray Ray, then him getting into the drugs and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, we're going deep, deep. Even about him shooting his daddy. I'm like, oh, we going deep, deep, right? So she went a little deep too, right? Told him that, her mama dated this dude that was trying to touch her. And when she told her mama ended up marrying a guy. So Tariq says, you know what, that's fucked up. Anything else you want to tell me? I was like, wow, that's fucked up. Is there anything else that you want to tell me? So they pulled up to the spot where she pushed Lauren's car into the water, right? And so he basically told her, I know everything that's going on, and basically, fuck you, right? And so she was gonna go for the gun. He's like, oh, you gonna shoot me? He was like, I ain't even gonna do nothing to you. Like, I was like, oh. But he then told her, you got to find John Wayne way back. I was like, are y'all in the middle of nowhere, basically? Girl, hopefully you don't wear no heels, because he fucked you over, right? So then we see as Brayden and Effie try to go to the warehouse where all the, where they're doing their distribution at, right? Big Swole Man told him, y'all can't come in, and I'm supposed to make sure that you don't come in by any means necessary. I was like, well, damn, Tariq. By any means necessary, huh? He said yes. I said, okay, I hear you. I ain't got nothing to say to you, because y'all shoot a motherfucker in a heartbeat, right? So then Effie and Brayden get into it, and she's blaming Brayden. I'm like, nah, little sis, this is on you, right? Because you the one that told Kane. You the one that snuck up behind Brayden and knocked his ass out, and then kidnapped Lauren and tried to unlive Lauren. So now, little sis, this is on you. So when Tariq went in there where Kane was, he's like, where's Effie and Ben Affleck at? Tariq was like, I cut them out, right? And Kane said, oh, so you figured out what happened with your other bitch. He was like, what you know about that? He said, we did what your punk ass couldn't do. And I was like, you know what? He is kind of right? But then Tariq hit him with there's an investigation going on into Lauren's death because of the stupid shit that you did. I was like, well, you know what? You got a point there too, because Kane, I've said it, and I continue to say it. When it comes to Kane is not the brains of the operation. Kane does dumb stuff that gets him into trouble. Oh, Kane does some of the dumbest stuff. But I will say one thing about Kane. He is smart, right? He's smart, and he can spot things, right? He can catch on to the context clues. But when it comes to him coming up with a plan that won't nobody get caught up in, he's dumb in that aspect, right? So we see Tariq. So Tariq the next day went to the office and tried to use his key card. Is not letting him in. So the guy was like, so he was talking to the guy that was at the front desk, and he was like, oh, it says here that you got to talk to Brayden Weston. I was like, oh, okay, Brayden, I see you, little nigga. I see you, little white boy. So Braden trying to tell Tariq like, this is my family's business, right? You want to get access to that warehouse, you got to treat me with some motherfucking respect. I was like, Braden, let your nuts hang. Let your nuts hang, Braden. So then after that, we see Tariq. And so Tariq went to go see Raina's gravesite, right? And Big Mama was there. I was like, child, we ain't saw Big Mama in a month of Sundays, right? And basically, Big Mama just read into Tariq, telling him, like, you reap what you sow, and you're a mini ghost. And if you don't get out of this drug game while you can, you're going to end up in a grave right next to your daddy. And I was like, she ain't never lied about that. So then we see Braden. So Braden is talking to Kiki, and I'm going to make this make sense in a little bit too, right? So Braden is telling Kiki that he found an investor like him and her, like her and his uncle Lucas asked him to do. And, the money might not be that legit, but some of it is. And, he needs her to help her. He needs her to help to make it look completely legit, right? And she's like, you up to something shady, Braden. But if I do this, I want to cut. I was like, well, you know what? Miss Kiki ain't as dumb as she looks. Because, she looked like a smart girl. But when I saw her having sex with Braden, I was like, girl, really? That's where we're going? But okay. So, Tariq texts Big Mama to meet up with him, right? So Tariq has a bag, right? And he gets on the train. And you see big, burly, scary African man in the back. Big, burly, scary African man over here. Tariq hops off the train. And guess who it is? It's scary looking Obi. I was like, oh, this man scares the shit out of me. This is why I could never be a drug dealer ever in life. So, big scary Obi let Tariq go, right? So Tariq actually set it up for Big Mama to go be with Yaz and to be with Tasha. And Big Mama said she can't leave without him. I was like, girl, you better do whatever you got to do. Because Noma and her men, hell, just Noma in general, the bitch scares the shit out of me. Run. Go. Get the hell out of Dodge. So then later on in the episode, we see as Tariq met up with Braden, right? So they going to make it work out for the sake of working it out because, they got to get this done or else Noma going to pop people, right? So Tariq told Braden how in Italy they found out she has a child. Honestly, for me, I don't think that child means anything to Noma. I got to be real. I mean, if Noma killed the father of her child, what do you think that says about her daughter? Y'all think she care about that daughter like that? I'm just asking. Some women have babies and they don't. Some women don't have the maternal instincts that most women do. Just saying, right? So they gonna still work together, and Tariq is gonna have access to the warehouse and whatnot. So they're gonna make it work so that they can get out from up under Noma's thumb. I was like, good luck with that one. Good the fuck luck with that one. Now, while they were together, Tariq got a text message from Lauren saying to meet up with her, right? So we're gonna pause here and we're gonna move forward and wrap up this episode, you guys. All right, you guys. So let's wrap the episode up with the Tejada family. So Monet, we see Monet as she is IDing Lorenzo's body, right? And guess who was there behind her? Blanca Rodriguez. Oh, that bitch just annoys my spirit. So, while Monet is IDing Lorenzo's body, Diana is getting some dick from Celine. Kane is at a poker game, and Drew is drawing and texting Gordo. So, Monet called up each one of them and told them that Lorenzo was dead, right? So, we then later see them as they're at home, and, Monet is telling Diana that she needs her help with planning the funeral. And, Diana asked her, do they know who did it? And Monet was like, the cops don't give a fuck about us. And they probably won't, and they ain't gonna never find out who did it. I was like, girl, you better hope and pray that they don't. Because, your ship will be sinked. So then Drew thinks that it's the Russians and he wants to make a move against the Russians. And Monet is like, we ain't finna make a move against the Russians without having concrete proof that they did it. So Monet then gave Kane Lorenzo's life insurance policy because she wants him to, step up and be the man, right, and take care of the business, and then, keep that money legit. So that's where Braden came in, because later in the episode, he met up with Braden to tell Braden, like, he wants him to help him with keeping the money clean. And Braden was like, we can put this in Westing Holdings. And Kane was like, we ain't put nothing in nothing until you put your foot down with Tariq. Because, Kane, because he was like, why you think he ain't come at me? And Braden was like, because Tariq know you'll basically kill him. And he says, exactly. So you need to put your foot down. So after that, we see Kane. So Kane is talking to Monet because he was like, the last time that we talked and you were talking about Lorenzo, you had some questions. So she's like, so you think I killed my husband of over 20 years? And she said, if I did, then why didn't I take you out? Because you kept your father's secrets from me. I was like, you know what? She kind of makes a valid point, because I was actually wondering it last weekend. Like, girl, now that you know that Kane knew, are you going to take out your own son? Because I was really sitting there thinking that, right? So she told him, stop trying to put two and two together, because we know that your dumb ass ends up with 5. I was like, oh, when she told that boy, stop trying to put 2 and 2 together, because we know that your dumb ass will come up with 5. I was like, Monet, you ain't shit. I would have cussed her out. Like, my dumb ass will come up with 5, but my dumb ass has done a lot for this family. Granted, he's done a lot of shit, good and bad, for the family, but god damn, Monet. I mean, shit. That was just fucked up. So you guys, we see the repass. I didn't even realize that the dude that they met up with a few episodes ago, when they were trying to, be the connects, right? I didn't realize that old boy was what's his name, from the Wood. I was like, look at her. Would you look at that? He still looks the same. He still looks good, right? He still want to get at Monet. That pissed Drew off. That really pissed Drew off. I'm like, Drew, he is doing everything he can to get under your skin, and it is working. And Monet was like, nigga, fuck him, basically telling Drew that, right? So he was basically telling Kane and Drew, like, y'all's daddy's death has gone unanswered. Y'all gotta do something about that, right? And in Drew's head, he's right, Ma. Once again, Monet said, we don't have anything to say that it was the Russian, so we're not gonna make a move. But she doesn't want Drew to take Lorenzo's place. But she don't run the business, but she does want him to be like Lorenzo. I'm like, no. I don't think Drew's ready, and I damn sure don't think Kane is ready. I think that you should run it, but continue to do it like y'all were doing it before Lorenzo got out of prison. Drew is the brains of the operation, right? But Drew is also very headstrong and emotional. And I think that's the difference between Drew and Kane, right? Drew is very emotional. He thrives from his, he goes based off of his emotions, right? But he is a very logical and smart thinker. Whereas Kane is not the brightest in the box, right? Not the sharpest tool in the box, not the brightest bulb in the box, right? But, when things need to be done, Kane knows how to take the emotions out of things, and that's where Drew, they both have things that the other needs. Drew needs to be a little less emotional, right? Kane needs to be a little bit more practical. If they actually could work together at times, they would be a force to be reckoned with. But we'll see if that ever happens, because they go back and forth with each other so much, right? So upstairs, Diana is getting ready, right? Salim is there. Salim is actually getting on my nerves at this point, right? Salim has really gotten on my nerves. He keeps asking questions like, so everybody down there, are they family? If they are or if they aren't, why do you give a damn, right? So then he went on to try to basically say that so Diana said that her dad's death was so unexpected, right? He said, was it really? I was like, is this the time that you want to bring that up? Like the fact that he was a criminal? So you're trying to blame him for his own death? He said, yeah. I was like, oh. When Salim dies, I'm not even gonna feel no type of way about it because his death is coming. I know people think that he's like he is working with the feds. I don't think he's working with the feds, you guys. I don't believe Salim is working with the feds. I know like I said, I know he's asking a whole hell of a lot of questions, but I just don't believe he's working with the feds. But you guys can let me know if you think he is in the comment section below, and we'll discuss it there, right? But she told him, get the fuck out, right? You in my dad's house at my repast, and you trying to blame him for his own death? Well, I mean, technically he is responsible for his own death, right? I mean, he knew. I mean, why did you think? Well, you don't know it, but Poppy killed Zeke. Poppy kept that a secret because Poppy knew that if he told your mama that his days would be numbered, right? So, in a sense, Poppy is responsible for his own death. Hate to say it to you, little girl, but your daddy did kind of bring it on himself, right? So we see Drew. So Drew was at a bar, and Gordo came to the bar. And, oh God, Drew, this is what I was just talking about. Drew and his emotions, right? Drew wants to take out the Russians because he still has it in his head that the Russians are the ones who killed Lorenzo, right? Gordo was saying, like, are you sure this is what you want to do? He said, yeah, it's my plan. So Gordo says he got him, right? I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, Gordo, granted, you can't tell your little boyfriend that you killed his daddy, right? But, I mean, you can't talk him out of it, knowing that the Russians didn't do this, so you guys are just going to start an unnecessary-ass war? Like, okay, Gordo, I got my good eye on you. So, next up we see Diana. So Diana is in her room getting drunk with brown skin Keisha and her roommate, right? So Tariq came to see her, and everybody left. And then as they were leaving and Tariq went in, Salim came to see Diana with some flowers, and they was like, oh, she already in there with somebody else. He's like, is it another dude? And they were like, my brother, you might want to go. So Tariq is talking to Diana, and he asked her to help move so Tariq wants Diana to help him move the weight at the Ivy Leagues, right? Because that's what he told Kane earlier, right? That really and truly, when it comes down to it, it's him, it's Kane, and he wants to bring Diana in. They're the only ones that really move stuff. They don't really need Braden and Effie. I was like, you sure about that one? But okay. So Diana said, before her dad died, he wanted her to stop. He wanted her to get out, and she wants to honor that, right? So she tells him she needs to find a place to stash what she's been selling at the candy store. He said, "So that was you that's been selling at the candy store?" So he says, "Well, if you need my help, I got you, right?" So they started kissing. They started kissing. I was like, "Oh, y'all finna have sex, huh?" Okay. So moving over to Drew. Drew is executing his plan, and I was like, "This is stupid, just dumb as fuck." So Drew went up to one of the Russians and just stabbed him and left him there. Didn't even check to see if the nigga was dead. Left him there and said, "I'm a Tejada." I was like, this what we doing? You stabbed him. You stabbed him. You stabbed him. And that girl that you was flirting with, I mean, you don't think she could have came back and saw that he was... What kind of plan was this, Drew? What kind of plan was this? It was so, it was just executed poorly, right? So then we see Effie. So Effie went over to Diana's room, basically telling her, like, I know that you're the one that's selling the drugs in the candy shop. They know they catching on to you, so you need my help, right? And basically told her not to tell Tariq. And Diana said, "Skirt." There was Tariq in the background. "Hi, Effie. Fuck both of y'all." I'm like, girl, you don't want to, like, what you mad at her for? Like, what you mad at them for? So, Diana. Ooh, this is not going to go well. So Diana got the drugs, right? And I had been thinking about this for quite some time. Because I really had been thinking about this. Like, I thought Braden last season told them where they were stashing the drugs at. So Diana went up to where they were stashing the drugs at, right? She opened it and she put the drugs in there. Then she left and the camera panned up and there was a camera there. I was like, oh my God, who put that camera there, right? So we see the funeral and, Diana is giving the eulogy and they finished the funeral. Also, Blanca and Jenny were there. Turns out the cameras that are on Stansfield, those were placed there by Blanca and by Jenny. And they got the picture of Diana putting the drugs in. I was like, oh, fucking goodness. Great, right? So after they leave out the funeral, guess who pulls up to the funeral? The Russians. And the Russians just start blasting. And I know that they hit one of the Russians, so they had to retreat because the dude was just hanging out the window. I'm like, y'all ain't gonna just push this man out the car? Because, I mean, he's dead. Like, literally sitting there dead. So that's what I was talking about earlier when Davis called Monet to tell her that the Russians have been picked up, so they're free and clear for now. So where we at? So we see Kane and Drew, they got into it, right? And Kane eventually left. And then when he left, we see he went over to Effie's dorm room. Effie was basically she was gonna blow up Tariq's spot, right? And Kane was like, no, because that'll hurt all of us. So what he said he'll do to her is, I'll slide you some drugs on the side, and Tariq will basically be none the wiser to that. And I was like, is that gonna last that long? I think Kane just really want to smash Effie. That's really all I get from Kane. But let me know, that's the episode, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about it down in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, turn your post notifications on, share the video, you guys. And until the next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, you guys. Wash your hands, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.